What is up guys, this is Tito back with another video on the Redmi Note 7 Pro, and today in this video I'm going to be showing you the latest PPUI or PixelPlusUI on this particular device. So let's begin. This is how the lock screen looks like, and as you can see, the clock over here is the PixelPlusUI clock. So here is the update. I'll put all the important links for this in the description box below, so do not worry. And over here, this is the version 3.7 of the PixelPlusUI for the Redmi Note 7 Pro. And the build name is Ragnarok, and the build date here is 12th July 2021. That is the latest build as of right now. And yes, this is a stable build as of right now. And there is a reason why this ROM is so special for the Redmi Note 7 Pro, I feel. I'll talk about all of those things, but first let me just show you the quick settings panel. This is how it looks like. The whole UI looks very beautiful, and as you can see, the quick setting panel has this oxygenized kind of look. And if you go into the settings over here, and if you go into the about section and Android version of this ROM, you can see there is the version mentioned as version 3.7 Ragnarok, and we have the device name as Redmi Note 7 Pro official build, and the maintainer is of course Saurav, and we have the Android version over here as you can see based on Android 11, and we have the PixelPlusUI logo up there, and we have the latest security patch of July 5th 2021. If you scroll down, the stock kernel here is the Azure Guns Blazing Plus kernel, and we have the build time or the build date over here. The SafetyNet status shows as enforcing. And if you go into the system, we do have a system updater. You can check for updates whenever there is a new update, I guess. And if you go into the gestures, we have the quickly open camera. And as you can see over here, it shows this big font, shows gesture and navigation. There we have the system navigations over here. And if you go into the settings, we have the gesture bar length as well as the gesture bar radius customization. Yes, I have customized both. That's the reason why you are seeing the pill bar is quite long and thick. And the haptic feedback, back gesture animation and stuff is there. And if you go back, we get the 2-button and 3-button navigations. Swipe to take screenshot is there, and there is a long screenshot, edit, share and delete option as you're noticing on the bottom. In the power menu, we have the sensitive content and stuff. Then we have the adaptive playback, quick torch, quickly open camera is also there. And the stock keyboard over here is Gboard because this ROM comes with G apps included, of course. And let me actually show you the home screen now. And again, there is a reason again why this ROM is so special for me, at least, because this ROM comes with ANX camera by default. You don't have to install it separately. That is a huge thing in my personal opinion. Let me actually open it. If I go into the app info of this ANX camera, as you can see, this is the version 185R of the ANX camera. This is not an old kind of ANX camera that is present by default here. And by the way, if I open this ANX camera, if you go into the video settings, as you can see, we also have the 4K 30 FPS option working flawlessly, and everything on this particular ANX camera is working amazingly well. No issues whatsoever. I have tested them. Let me actually show you. This is a rear camera selfie with the portrait mode, and that is actually working fine. As you can see, the background bokeh is there, and if you're noticing, the background blur has worked quite well over here. So yeah, background bokeh or the portrait mode with the rear camera is working flawlessly here. Also, the front camera portrait is working fine. By the way, if you're wondering what is the size of this picture, as you can see, this is a 12 megapixel picture, about 10 MB for this rear camera portrait selfie. And for this front camera portrait, I have this as the 13.2 megapixel selfie, and we have the 7 MB size of the picture. And if I show you this particular picture, let me actually show you the 48 megapixel mode is working flawlessly here. As you can see, if you look at the image size, this is a 48 megapixel photo. The size is about 16.35 MB. I did also take another like 48 megapixel photo over here. Let me show you. This is again a 48 megapixel photo. So yeah, 48 megapixel is working flawlessly. And as you can see, you can zoom it in. A lot of zoom are there. As you are noticing, if I unzoom it, just notice how far I have zoomed. And in this particular picture again, if I zoom it in over here, just look at the details which is present in this particular picture. Everywhere there is the Redmi logo. And if I zoom it out, as you can see, So yeah, the 48 megapixel mode pictures are also working fine if you go into the mode, and if you select the 48 megapixel mode, yes, the 48 megapixel mode is actually working flawlessly. Everything like the portrait mode and stuff does not crash the camera at all, and everything is working flawlessly over here. No issues whatsoever. If you want to see the front camera, as you can see live, the front camera is working flawlessly. So this is a huge thing in my personal opinion, that you are getting this ANX or MIUI camera by default on this particular ROM, and that is working fine. Also, I have installed this Yonex camera PX version, and this is also working fine. As you can see, 2x zoom and stuff, and with the front camera again it is working flawlessly. Portrait mode and stuff with the front camera should be working fine with this Gcam. This is the version 8.1 PX Gcam. So yeah, this is also working fine. If you want to install the Gcam separately, you can of course do that. Now let me talk about the stock launcher present on this ROM. Yes, this is a Pixel launcher present by default, so you are getting these kind of settings. Yes, you can disable the suggestion and stuff, but there is no option to actually have the double tap to sleep anywhere in the home screen. So that's how it is. But double tap to sleep in the status bar is working flawlessly, and double tap to wake in the lock screen and stuff is working fine. And if I show you the fingerprint scanner speed, just notice how fast the scanner is over here. If you're noticing, let me show you up close. As you can see, the fingerprint scanner is working flawlessly. No issues whatsoever that I have faced with the fingerprint scanner. It is a very reliable fingerprint scanner experience. By the way, on the stock launcher to the left, we get the Google's Discover page, as you are noticing, working flawlessly. Swiping up gets you to the app drawer, and swiping down gets you to the quick setting or the notification panel. Widgets in the home screen are working fine, and the wallpaper I'm using is from the Wallpy app. But let me actually show you, if you want to have the default wallpapers of this ROM, there is this particular app which says PixelPlusUI wallpapers, and you are getting these kind of wallpapers. Don't get me wrong, they don't look that good. As you can see, they are cartoonish kind of wallpapers. But yeah, I don't like them much, but you can definitely use these wallpapers if you want to. But I'm using the Wallpy app, which I'll list in the description. Do not worry. Talking about the quick setting panel, this is how it looks like. You can edit and add multiple toggles over here. As you can see, plethora of quick toggles that you can add. Now let me show you which toggles I have added. There we have the battery saver, the dark theme, the Android 11 screen recorder is also there. You can record the device audio and the microphone audio with this at the same time. We have the do not disturb data saver. Always on display is also there. You can enable it if you want to, but this device has an IPS display, so that will take a hit on the battery maybe. And we have the heads up disabling option. The night light is working flawlessly, as you are noticing. The nearby share and stuff is there, and the volume panel shows up if you tap on it. And as you can see, this is how the volume panel by default looks like. We have the sound toggle too, and if you tap and hold on it, you get the volume panel again. And we have the reboot toggle as well. So if your power button is broken or something, you can use this toggle to directly reboot to recovery or just reboot the device. And we have the FPS counter. If you enable that, as you can see on the top left of the screen, there is the FPS showing up on the top left. Yes, I don't have a SIM card in the device, but yes, the VoLTE calling and stuff should be working flawlessly over here. And if you go into this Pixelizer settings, you get all the customizations. But first, it shows the developer's name and stuff, and you can donate to the developers from here. It shows PixelPlusUI, as you can see. Now you can go into the status bar toggle to actually go into the customizations. So if you're wondering about the customizations, we have the double tap to sleep and the brightness control as well, as you can see on the status bar, and that is working fine. No issues with that. We have the 4G icon indicator, then the battery indicator is also there. You can customize it. The battery icon for the status bar, you can choose it to icon portrait, circle, dot, circle, filled circle, etc. And we have the battery percentage next to the icon or inside the icon. You can choose from here. Quick setting battery percentage and the battery location and stuff you can change. Then we have the quick setting customization. Then we have the traffic indicator and stuff, and I like the fact that it shows this big kind of font up top. Then we have the tint quick setting tiles, and here you can change the quick setting tiles tint to OxygenOS 11 or the Android 12 or the accent color or default. So that is really good that we are getting all of these options, but I have been using it with the OxygenOS 11. This is how it looks like with that. So I'm really loving this. And you can customize the column and row numbers. You can hide the titles of the quick toggles if you want to. In the lock screen, we have this forced fingerprint authentication. So this is amazing that we're getting this particular feature. Even if I reboot, I can unlock the device with just a fingerprint scanner. I don't have to enter PIN whenever I reboot. So that's how it is. And the double tap to sleep on the lock screen is working flawlessly. Lock icon you can hide or unhide, and we have the status bar disabling or enabling option, and the screen of animation you can change it to simple fade, CRT or scale from here. And if you go into the extras, we have the power menu customization. From here you can enable the advanced reboot, and if you have the advanced reboot enabled, as you can see, this is how the power menu looks like. By the way, the background blur is there. You can enable it in the display settings, and this is how it looks like. and we have this Google Smart Home controls over here. And if you tap on advanced, as you can see, there are the directly booting option to the recovery or bootloader or system UI or stuff like that. So this is very helpful. And we have the swap buttons if you're using 2 or 3 button navigation. Vibrate on connect, call, waiting and disconnect. 3 options are there for in-call vibrations. And we have the volume panel customization. You can choose it to AOSP, compact, tiled, MIUI, compact, shift, everything else. And we have the gaming mode and the heads up enabling or disabling option, or you can customize. So that's how it is. That's how all the customizations are in this Pixelizer settings. In the battery settings, we have this kind of look. Now, one thing that does disappoint me here in the battery settings, that there is no thermal profiles on this particular ROM, which is a little weird. You don't get any thermal profiles in this particular ROM. Now, if you tap here, you can see the full battery usage. The battery life, I would say yes, it can definitely give you 6+ hours of screen on time on this particular ROM if your battery's health is good. And the fast charging is also working, no issues with that. And we have the battery saver, adaptive battery, smart cutoff, smart charging. The battery temperature shows up over here, but of course there is no charging cycle or stuff like that. It doesn't show the charging cycle or the current battery capacity, design battery capacity, those kind of things. And we have the last full charge, the screen on time on the bottom. That's it. That's how the battery settings looks like. Let me go back in the display settings. This is how it looks like. Again, we have this display and themes written over here. The brightness level shows up on top. Then we have the dark theme. And if you go into the dark theme, as you can see, you can schedule it if you want to. Night light, you can also schedule it and change the intensity from here. Then adaptive or auto brightness is there. Yes, that is working fine. And in the status bar settings, we have the icon tuner. From here, you can enable the headset, Bluetooth, etc. icons, as you are noticing. So yeah, these options are there. Let me go back. We have the live display. You can change the color calibration like RGB control we have over here. Then we have the hue, saturation, intensity and contrast of the screen. Reading mode and stuff is there. Now let me just jump into the styles and wallpapers. And here, this is amazing that we are getting this custom like theming section. You can choose between these many fonts. As you're noticing, plethora of fonts are there. If you tap next, we have only this one icon. But if you click next, we can like create a custom theme with these many accent colors. And as you're noticing, plethora of accent colors are there. Even the yellow and stuff is there, as you are noticing, these kind of colors, or the red. So yeah, a lot of accent colors are there, but you have to create a custom theme from here if you want to like change the theme from this section. And in the wallpapers, we have these kind of wallpapers. As you can see, on device wallpaper, this is the default wallpaper, by the way. Let me go into the grid settings. You get the 5x5 grid, but let me show you the clocks over here. You get plethora of clock customizations. Just notice how many clocks for the lock screen you get. You get the fluid, then the S-Funny and stuff. So a lot of lock screen clocks you get. I'm not going to be showing you all the clocks over here, but let me show you some of them. First, let me show you the Android S style clock. So this is how the Android S style clock looks like. Pretty beautiful in my opinion, and it is looking really good for the Redmi Note 7 Pro. Does give you that Android 12 kind of look, definitely. Now the Android S DP3 kind of clock over here for the lock screen. Again, this is the PixelPlusUI clock. Looks very beautiful in my opinion, and definitely changes colors depending on the background over here. That is cool. This is the Cal clock. This is the OnePlus numbers. This is the OnePlus minimal, and this is the OnePlus Roman. And this clock you should be pretty familiar with. This is the Fluid version 2. This is the sticker tag, type alt clock, Clockertino clock, IDE or the mixed Java kind of clock. And yeah, this is a very nerdy kind of looking lock screen clock, I would say. We also get this Octavie clock over here in this ROM. And the Shapeshift clock is also there, and this is how it looks like. Pretty similar to the DP3 of Android 12. This is the Fluid version 1. This is the S-Funny clock. But I definitely like this Android S style clock over here, but you can of course use the PixelPlusUI clock too if you want to. Now we also have the screen timeout. You can set it to 30 minutes if you want to. Then we have the font size, display size, the DPI customization. Then we have the lock screen customization. We have the display media cover art and the always on display you can enable with this always show time and info. Then we scroll down in the display settings. We have the double tap to wake, the enable blurs option, and the full screen apps. You can actually toggle and force some particular apps to full screen if you want to. Then we have the prevent accidental wake up option or the pocket detection. In the sound settings, this is how the sound and vibration settings looks like. We have the media, call, ring, etc. volume controls, and we have the vibrate for calls. If you scroll down, we have the more sound controls and the screen locking sound, charging, vibration, etc. You can enable or disable from here. Authentication vibration is there. Then we have the screenshot sound disabling option as well. And we have the Mi Sound Enhancer, you can enable it if you want to. And the sound quality via the headphone jack should be really good with this youth edition over here. And even Bluetooth sound is working super fine, no issues with that. If you have a Bluetooth headset, you can definitely use that over here. Let me go back, and we also have the clear speaker option. So you can enable this and that will clear your loudspeakers over here. This is a very handy feature in my opinion. In the security, this is how it looks like. We have the password and security written on top in a big font, and we have the fingerprint options. And if you go into the settings, we have the quick unlock, scramble pin layout, and the lock screen timeout. You can also change to 30 seconds or something if you want to just stare at the lock screen for some reason. And we have the face unlock over here. By the way, if you're looking at the keyboard section of entering a pin or something, or whenever you're seeing the keyboard, it has this rounded on the bottom. As you're noticing, the rounded edge looks very beautiful in my opinion. Now let me just click next. Let's just set up the face unlock right now. So setup of the face unlock is done. Let me just go into the home screen, and right now if I double tap over here and double tap to wake, as you can see, it unlocks with the face unlock. So let me try one more time. Let's just double tap. Yes, it is very quick face unlock, but I have a wire in front of my face. That's why maybe it's taking a little bit more time. Let me actually move this device around. Okay, so it still takes some time, but yeah, it definitely unlocks with the face unlock. But definitely the face unlock is not the fastest experience, as you are noticing. So yeah, it takes 2 or 3 seconds, I would say. But the fingerprint scanner is definitely very fast, if you're noticing. Also, we do have this app lock. All the apps, you can lock any app just by tapping on them, just by this. And we have the notification hiding option, and we have the lock app after instantly 15 seconds or screen off. Really sorry for the background noise, guys. And you can search for any particular apps just from here. And whenever you are opening a locked app, this is how the interface will look. And we have the use pin, then the fingerprint, and the face unlock option too for that particular app lock. Let me actually tap the fingerprint scanner and let me show you. As you can see, the app lock is working perfectly fine, no issues whatsoever. Talking about daily driving performance, it should be really good. And if you are looking for benchmarks, here are the Antutu and Geekbench score of this particular ROM. And again, you can see the CPU throttle test that I did over here. Yes, the CPU does get a little bit of throttle for long period of heavy kind of usage, but that's fine totally in my opinion. And if you're wondering stuff like Google Assistant is working fine or not, let me show you. Okay, Google. As you can see, Google Assistant is working flawlessly here. Let me try one more time. Hey Google. As you can see again, Google Assistant is working flawlessly.
Here's an answer from Google.
Okay, so that's from another device, but yeah, here Google Assistant is working super fine here. Also, if you are wondering the IR Blaster is working fine or not, as you can see, the IR Blaster works fine over here on this particular ROM. So no issues with the IR Blaster present on the device. It is working in this particular PixelPlusUI. And it passes the SafetyNet test right out of the box, so you can use banking apps over here without any issues. The DRM info still stays L1, so you can again stream Netflix or Amazon Prime videos in 1080p on this particular ROM without any issues because the DRM info shows as L1. So that's been it, guys, about this PixelPlusUI for the Redmi Note 7 Pro. I feel this is a really amazing ROM that you can just install, and right out of the box you are getting all the banking apps and stuff working. Then we have the ANX camera by default. You also have the reboot toggle and stuff if your power button is broken. So this is a really perfect ROM almost for the Redmi Note 7 Pro, I personally feel. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Give it a thumbs up and share this video with your friends if you feel like. This is Tiro from KD and signing off for today, and I'll be catching you guys in the next one. Bye bye now.